Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. How is the day?
Cold weather, sir.
Cold. Okay. So, okay. We'll start the discussion on the Objective C basics. Here, this in this discussion, we are going to learn little thing about the Objective C. Since it's a backbone of Apple, similar to Java, Android. In addition to that, you can even look into the Swift fundamentals also. There are a lot of resources available. Objective C previously it was the backbone of this one, and on top of it, Objective C, Swift also meant for Apple programming. Okay, so Objective C basics, as we seen in the last session, we spoke about the what is Objective C, when it was started, developed by whom, and is it a object oriented programming language like C? It is top off on C program. Objective C also adds Smalltalk style messaging. Smalltalk is another alternate program object oriented programming language. Almost all it supports the almost all except one or two features of object orientation. Object oriented programming Smalltalk. So Objective C requires developers to declare a class in an interface and then define the implementation. See, as you are aware of object-oriented concepts, interface is the one of the important concept of object orientation. So here, if you are declaring a class, every class be in an interface, then you are going to implement that interface. You need to define the implementation for that interface. We'll learn some of the basics of Objective C. Here, there is a list of table. It will differentiate the C++ and Objective C, C++ and Objective C. If possible, you have a screenshot of it, or you can just note down how you are defining or importing the library in C or C++ is hash include library.h. Here library.h is a user defined function, so that's why it is put under the double quotes. Otherwise, usually it will be under the angular braces. A system library files usually it will under the angular braces, otherwise it will put under the double quotes. Here you can observe the Objective C import statement. In Java we are using import, but here in addition to that import, hash is used, hashtag is used. Hash include hash import library.h. There is a slightly syntax variation from C++ to Objective C. So the another keyword is this, we use to point to a current object there in C or C++. Here self is used in Objective C. And the declaration part, especially in C++, private colon is used. It tells that it's a beginning of the private block. Here in Objective C, it is used at the rate private. So at the rate is a reference here, private. So that block begins from there, that point of view. Means annotation private. Protected, public, private, protected, colon. It's the beginning of each block. Similarly here, at the rate private, public and protected. These are the some of the important syntax variation in the Objective C and C++. You just look at here y equal to this is the creating the instance of the new class called as my class here. Y equal to new object, new keyword is used to initiate and call the constructor, default constructor of my class in C or C++. In the Objective C, observe here it used the malloc allocation. Allocation is used to initialize the object of a class. Here, my class alloc that will written in the square bracket. In the outer square bracket, init. Init is used here, initializing the memory allocation to the new object of the type my class. Okay. So another yeah, difference is try, throw, catch. Finally, exception handling is used in the C++. Here, at, try, at, throw, at, catch, and at final. So annotations are used here in Objective C. So same try, catch, throw, catch. Finally, syntactical difference, but conceptually both are same, right? Then we'll go with classes of how we can declare the classes in Objective C. The interface of Objective C classes is defined in a header file for each interface. For each interface, the header file is defined in Objective C as an interface. Usually, the file names of the header match the class name. For example, you can create a header file named doc.h. Suppose doc.h is the file name of the file, .h header file. Usually the class name is also a dog. See, observe here you are declaring a class name as dog. It inherits the animal's property, right? Colon means it inherits the animal property of the extends the animal's property. Uh, Dog is here a class, but you declare the class as an interface in Objective C. So under that animal instance variables, then method declarations, and every interface begin with at interface and followed by at end. Usually brackets are used in class declaration for opening and closing, whereas here at end is used to close the interface or class declaration. So the meaning of this syntax is you are telling the compiler that a new class named dog, which is a subclass of animal, is being declared. You are telling the compiler in Objective C that dog is a class, it is a subclass of animal. Then any instance variables are declared between the curly braces, and at end keyword. Methods are declared between the end of the curly bracket, and at the end. See, this syntax is instance variable only allowed to put under the curly braces, remaining outside the curly braces, that is method declaration, and finally the close by at end keyword. So internally, the actual implementation of the DA class as like below. Here it is a dog.h. You are importing that hash import dog.h. Then implementation dog, that is class implementation. It appears here. Here method declaration. Here method definitions needs to be done. So how it is implementing? Importing dog.h, all instance variables and method declarations which will be available now for the compilation. Then whatever the you are doing the definitions in the definitions, method definitions, that is going to be executed as a part of the application. Then how to create the instance variable. I hope you understood the basic syntax of declaring the classes in Objective C. Clear? Now, how you are going to declare the instance variable? The attributes that are declared between the curly brackets are instance variables. What is instance variables? These are declared like local or global variables, but have a different scope. As you are aware of the different scopes of a variable, local scope and global scope. Depending on the type of your declaration, variables accessible inside the application and from outside the application. Instance variables by default are visible in all instance methods of a class and its subclasses. So instance variables usually the appearance is global appearance. Default is it is visible in all instance methods of a class and its subclasses. Methods. Now let us look into the methods. So methods can be declared as either instance methods or class methods. There is a difference between instance methods or class methods. What is the difference? Is if anybody are able to differentiate, you can differentiate instance methods are class methods. Instance methods are particular to the instance accessibility. Class methods are accessible by all the instance objects, right? So instance methods are called by sending a message directly to the instance of the class. How instance methods are called? Sending a message directly to the instance of the class. Suppose y is the instance, y equal to my class or the dog class, dog alak init. Here y is an object, that is instance of the dog class. How you are calling the object of the dog class? By sending a message directly to the instance of the class, which means you need to have your own instance of the class before you can call these methods. So you need to have your own instance of the class. Usually the instance methods are prefixed with a minus sign. Instance methods are prefixed with minus sign. Please note this one. Syntactical differences only. The concepts, syntactical differences only. Instance methods are called by sending messages directly to the instance of the class, which means you need to have your own instance of the class before you can call these methods. The declaration syntax is instance of the methods. Declaration is usually it is prefixed with minus sign. So for example, here minus ns string, it is return type, get name of animal. It returns the name of the animal and takes no parameter. No parameter means you are not specifying any uh, half brackets, right? ns string type, it is returning the value. Ns is the prefix is used for the string. Minus, it tells you that it is the method for the instance class. Get name of animal, getX method is used to retrieve the name of the animal from that object instance. Suppose a class method does not require an instance of a class. You call a class method by sending a message to the unique class object. Either C sharp or Java developer may recognize class methods as static methods. So in C sharp or Java, in the Java public static void main, static methods are class methods. Void main is the class methods of Java there because you declared as static, right? Usually static methods in either the C sharp or the Java are the class methods. Here to differentiate that plus is used. The following method returns an array containing a list of all non-extinct elements plus array type new string array get non-extinct. So you are retrieving the non-extinct information about the all the animals, means you are fetching the information of all instances of that particular class of animal, that is dog. Okay, clear? Now calling methods, how you are calling the methods. We have seen two methods. One is instance methods, another one is class methods. Declaration we have seen. Instance methods declared through by prefixing minus sign and return type and with and without parameter of the method call. So class methods begin with plus symbol, return type and with or without parameter type. Now calling methods, how you can call the methods. So in Objective C is heavy on the use the brackets. Objective C methods are not called in the traditional sense, their objects are sent messages. Usually in the traditional way, dot is used to call the either the method or the the packages. We need to use the dot. Dot operator is used to call the methods, right? Whereas in the syntax for sending messages is to enclose the name of the object and the message with square bracket. Here square bracket is used. Object, suppose in our case object is y, method is what? Get animal, get name of the animal. So by passing object name, that is dog, y is the object here in our case, method is the get name of animal, get name of animal. It will retrieve the name of that particular object y. Suppose Tommy is the one another object. Tommy equal to new Tommy equal to dog, a lock in it. So here Tommy is the dog. Here object is y, method is get name of an animal. What it will return? It will return the name of that particular object y. Y is here Tommy. Similarly, if you want to provide the input from externally, to do that object, which object method you want to pass as an input variable or value. Object method with input colon input is used. Method, as you aware of it, universal truth. Method usually it will return the value, right? How? The return value output equal, you are assigning the call of the methods to the reference variable, that is output. Output equal to object method with output. Object method with output. It will return the value after fetching the information from this method with output method of this particular object, that will be assigned as an output. So another output equal to object method with input and output. So it will accept both input and output. That will be assigned, input assigns through input and output assigning through output equal to. See, Objective C second version provides a dot notation that can be used to invoke methods. So standard method of accessing methods and classes packages are dot is used. But earlier the use of the Objective C, this was the way to access the method along with the class object and the method which you are going to invoke. The syntax was simplified by switching from square bracket to the dot methods, dot notation. Many new Objective-C developers like this syntax because it looks like other languages in which they are more proficient. Usually, we are more into the Java and C# coding. Usually, there we use the notation of .NET, dot notation to call the methods. Suppose if we follow that dot, if it is used in the Objective C also, it will be easy for us to adopt this syntax in our Apple programming, right? So implementation in non-dot notation is integer last location equal to square bracket. My animal is an object of animal class. Get last location is the method which you are passing along with the my. This syntax it follows. This syntax it follows. This example. That is non-dot notation. With the dot notation, square brackets are removed. My animal, that is object of the class, dot get location. Here, so this output variable is assigned here. My animal is object of the class dot get location. This animal location you are retrieving from by calling the get location method without parameters method. Okay, this is the difference between the dot notation and square bracket notations of the Objective C. Then control structures. How you are writing the control structure, that is if statements and objectives. Syntactical differences only we are going to look into here rather than logical. Anyhow, if either it will return true or false depending on the condition, the true part will execute or false part is going to be executed. Again, by looking into the code, if else is used, here two-part conditional, true or false. Second, say how you are declaring the variables. NS array declaration with the pointer animal names equal to so and so, dot. Some array is initializing as a null animal name. In the beginning it is a null, it is of type array string. Then ns string name1 equal to, you are referencing name one of that animal name is Luna or Tommy. See, the rate is used for the initialization of the value at the time of program execution, right? So you are initialize the value to a name one. Name one is of type string type. Then you are checking the condition. Animal names is the object of that array. Contains object name one. Whether this array animal names contains the object called as name one. If it is true, this part is going to be executed. Otherwise, do something else. So rather than going with logic, See the declaration how it is differ from your existing programming languages. Here ns is the common string across all the variable types, variable data types. Okay. Now look into the for loops. Look into the for loops. The standard C for loop can be used to iterate for an enumerable object such as an array in Objective C. The following example loops over an array of animal objects and prints their location to the console screen. To print on the console screen, ns log is used. Log is used here to print. See again, ns array animals initially null. ns u unsigned integer. U is represent here unsigned integer. ns u integer animal count equal to the representation is square bracket. This is animals is the name of the object, count is the method you are calling. When you are calling, it counts all the animals which is present in this animals array and assigning it to a animal count as an integer value. Again you are applying for loop. J equal to 0, j is less than animal count. So it iterates till it becomes false. Then ns log animals, say observe here square bracket, first square bracket and second square bracket. First square bracket act as a entire object. Animals is an object of the class. Object at index is a position value. Animals at this index value is j colon j. Index is j, that is in first case 0, 0th case you are accessing the animals location of the first animal present in this animals. That will be displayed under the console screen. Clear? Then fast enumeration. Fast enumeration is easier for developers to code and runs faster than other traditional loops such as for and while loop. So fast enumeration, it is better coding style compared to your uh, regular for and while loops. So ns mutable array. Mutable means it is allowing you to add the new content to the animals object. Immutable means cannot be changed. So ns mutable array animals. For you are not checking the count or something else here till you are trying to access all the elements present in that location. From when it reaches the null at the end, it terminates the loop. Animal class single animal object in animals. If it is present, it will print that one. If it is absent, it just skip off the for loop. It's another way of coding the fast enumeration, that is for loops. Got it? Now try catch. Try catch. So again in exception handling in C++, Try catch is used in the same way in Objective C are also expensive. So expensive in the sense that when the class or the application is up and running, unforeseen situations, you are thinking of that as a developer, you handled all exceptions. Whatever the in future, if anything's happen going wrong, when the application is running, especially in mission critical applications, if exception occur, there is a threat of life. For example, airplane cases in that case. So you need to handle such kind of exception thoroughly before launching a mission critical applications. Okay. So to non-recoverable problems, so it is you should be very careful. You need to instruct if something happens wrong, immediately instruct to the pilot, do safe landing wherever it is possible. Give the decision to the hand off the decision to the pilot who is going to operate the airplane. So that's the one example for the discussion for exception handling. If you can test for an error condition in advance, you should do so far. So rather than catching exception, your code will run much faster. If exception arises, then switching to the pilot, maybe it is a time consuming process. In that case, immediately the control should goes to the pilot to safe landing, wherever it is the landscape, right? So try catch even in objective size are expensive. It's expensive in the sense in such in that way. The following example illustrates the structure of exception handling in Objective C. How you are handling the exception here. Uh, so in a normal C++, try is used. Here at try, code that may cause the exception means you are doubting the code in certain conditions or the constraints. Maybe this code is going to be throw the error. If you suspect such kind of the code, you can put that under the try block. Suspicion is not enough to put under the try block. If it happens in real time, what should be the alternative action? That action which will be defined under the catch block. If something happens here, you need to catch here. What kind of exception? Generic exception. NS exception is generic exception. Generic exception in this sense that whatever the error occurs in this block of code, whatever the type of the error, array index out of bounds, or the size memory, means shortage of memory allocation, or the arithmetic exception like divide by zero, in the calculation part, you don't know when it will occur. If you are using a mathematical calculations in the coding, when you cannot predict exactly when the exception which will throw, in that cases catch block is needs to be defined. Then once it is handled, finally you can close the code or you can return back to the particular home screen or back to the login screen of an application. So to do that, find in the finally block, you are going to put the code. That code will which will be executed to return back to the safe state of your application. So try catch finally. The structure is same similar where we used in C++ or we used in Java or we used in C#.NET. Here only syntax varies in begin with at the rate. Remaining is same. Here we use the pointer here for the exception object. There we use the exception object directly e. The another difference is exception we use there, here ns exception we are using. So, till now, we were able to understand what was the Objective C, what is the difference between C, C++, and Objective C in the syntactical part, how you are declaring the class, how you are declaring the instance variables, how you are declaring the methods, how you are defining the class, how you are able to access the methods of the class, how you are able to access the methods of the instances, then how the normal flow conditions, like how you can use the if statements, if else statements, how you are using the looping constructor in Objective C, and how you are handling the exception. All these things we have discussed so far. I hope I made you understand more about Objective C. Is there any questions are there? Any questions? Okay, no questions. So I made you very clear. So let us look into the Hello World application. It's a universal example for all programming languages is the Hello World app. So after opening Xcode, create a single view application project type found under the iOS project types. Just look into the, I'll just increase this one. So choose a template for your new project. Which are the types you can see, observe. Master detail application. Usually C sharp in .NET application, you are developing a master master menu and slave menus. Here also you can you can create a project like master detail application. OpenGL gaming application, you can select this template. Page based application, you can select this one. Single view application, as of now hello world is a single view application, you can select the single view. Tabbed application, it is by looking into this icon you are able to understand what is tabbed application. Utility application, if any system service based setting kind of things, if you want to add to the existing, you can use this one. Empty application, it is customized, it is completely user dependent. Either you go with single view or empty application. Phone gap based application, phone gap is another template type. It is able to made you made it is able to make you to execute your application code, app code in your Android also. Means your phone gap is a third party framework. It is meant for used for developing the platform independent applications. Platform independent applications such a way that it will execute in Apple iOS. It will execute by little or no additions or deletions, modification. You can run the same application in the Android also. You can run the same application in Windows iOS also. Okay, so to run such kind of the application, you can make use of phone gap. So depending on the type of the application you want to develop. Then screenshot only I am able to show here because I don't have an Apple notebook to showcase to implement this in Xcode to implement or to showcase this. I don't have a Apple notebook, so I don't have an Xcode installation copy in the Apple. So product name, you can give the name of the product, that is project name is Hello World. Company identifier is the package path. how you given in Android Studio com dot Android or so and so. Here com dot some company package dot hello world. Bundle identifier is the identifying that bundle as dot hello world. Class prefix begin with XYZ. Device family, you are targeting for the iPhone kind of thing. Use storyboard, it is a design part. Use automatic referencing counting, is also for configuration. Include unit test if you want to test the individual copy of an activity. You go with include unit test. Otherwise, uncheck it. Then click on next. It will take you to the next screen, and you can start coding. Okay. So we will go in detail about the Xcode, how you can product name. What is product name? You given here in the screenshot. What is product name? The product name you enter to name your project. That is the name of the project and the application. If you want your application name to show up differently in iOS, there is an option in the .plist. .plist is acts as a manifest.xml file in Android Studio. There you can change the display name of your application. So suppose your code, if you have developed an application for the college, so here the name college is given, but while displaying the name, depending on the customized option that is present in that plist, you give the display name as BMSIT. But the code is college. So the same application can be used for different colleges by providing the display name as differently. So means reusable can be made through this type of the option. Then company identifier, generate the bundle ID for iOS app. It is usually something like com dot gravity works design. Here example it is an example com dot BMSIT design. You can change. Bundle identifier is automatically generated for you. So like it will generate it through the resource and combination of the product name and company identifier. It's a combination of this product name. Product name is suppose in our case BMSIT. Company identifier is com.bmsit. Com.bmsit dot product name is BMSIT. Like that. It's a combination of the. This identifier is used when provisioning your app to be installed on the devices. Depending on the location of the user, the corresponding display name is going to be set depending on the it binded to the location. So bundle identifier is unique to an app, and the Apple developer tools will not allow you to provision an app when an existing app is using the same bundle identifier. So bundle identifier is an unique ID which is given to identify your application in the Apple Play Store. Okay. Then device family, you select the device family such as either it is iPhone or iPad or universal. Universal allows your application to be run on both iPhone and iPad. Okay, if you select the universal option, it is works for both iPhone and iPad. Or you can select to target to iPhone, or you can select target to iPad separately. So and some of the checkboxes we found, we were able to see here in this picture that the checkboxes are use storyboard to design the design and flow of the activities which is present in the application before start developing and deploying. So this is the initial stage of development of your application. Use storyboard. Use automatic reference counting means garbage collection mechanism is used in this case. Automatically, when your application closes, it cleans up the memory and all. To do that, usually that supports in iOS 5 onwards. Include unit test. It's a testing if whether you want to allow the application for testing or not. So the Xcode IDE looks like this. When you click on submit or OK, final stage of creating application, it will look like this. Hello world, observe here. Hello world dot Xcode project. Uh, just observe in the this is the project explorer window. This is the current selection of the project, this one. This is the design mode of the project which it is going to display. You observe it is looking like your Android Studio of design page. Portrait, upside down, landscape, different orientation, application icons, whether it is used or not, main storyboard, then main interface, the version of your application, identifier, device you targeted is this one, deployment target is 5, information, build settings, build phases. Then identity that is project name is this, location you are not specified at, you can specify full path where that application is going to be stored as a path of your storage. Then project document, the project format compatible for Xcode 3.2. Then organization name is suppose in our case BMSIT. Text settings, any indent you using, whether you are allowing in any indent type space or the tab, etc. and so on. All these things are it is going to be displayed. Okay. Then controls in the view, all the controls from the project navigator, select the main storyboard dot storyboard file. Here from the main story dot file, you can select that one. It will appear here. Then you start designing the activities, that is views. Then writing the code, start writing the code for the controller. With the UI completed and wired up, you can now tell your application that you want the touch event to do when touched. So we will discuss about this discussion in the next class. We'll start from this controls in the view. We will continue in the next class. So what we have seen, basics of Objective-C and how you can create the new project using Xcode editor. Okay, any doubts are there? Let me know. I'll share the today's quiz link now. You complete the quiz. By that time, I'll take the attendance. So quiz link is shared. Finish the quiz. By that time, I'll take the attendance.